Hello everyone! Welcome to our presentation video.
In this video, we will discuss and present the article that we have written entitled Culture in Style, Gen Z and the New Wave of Indonesian Traditional Clothing.
Through this presentation, we would like to share our insight on how Generation Z is redefining and presenting Indonesian traditional clothing in today's modern era. But before we begin, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Amelia Cantika Azahra with last number of student ID 078.
And my name is Agnia Karenina Julianto with the last student number ID is 019. And this is the poster that we designed based on our article.
And then let's start our presentation. Today, we will present our article entitled Culture in Style, Gen Z and the New Wave of Indonesian Traditional Clothing, especially on how Generation Z is redefining traditional fashion in modern society. Firstly, let's take a look at the background of this topic.
Before discussing the main topic, let me explain the background. In the past, traditional clothing was mostly worn only for formal ceremonies, cultural celebrations, or special events. Because of that, many young people thought that traditional clothing was old-fashioned and not suitable for everyday wear. However, this perception has changed over time. Fashion innovation, along with increasing cultural awareness, has encouraged designers and local brands to create modern versions of traditional clothing. They combine traditional fabrics such as batik and tenun with contemporary fashion styles. As a result, traditional clothing is no longer seen as something outdated. Today, many members of Gen Z wear it in a stylish and creative way, making it part of their daily lifestyle while also expressing pride in Indonesia culture.
Next, let's talk about Indonesian traditional clothing. So, Indonesian traditional clothing is an important cultural heritage that reflects the nation's history and diversity. It is worn during ceremonies, weddings, and religious events, representing identity, values, and local philosophies. Traditional garments often carry symbolic meanings, such as parang batik means courage and leadership, kabung batik means purity and wisdom, and ulas means love, prayer, and respect. This rich cultural diversity highlights Indonesians' identity, with batik recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Now, we're going to the next slide. Why is Gen Z interested with Indonesian traditional clothing as their fashion? As trends evolve, Indonesian traditional clothing has become increasingly popular among Gen Z through modern designs and creative innovations. Traditional outfits are now seen not only as ceremonial wear, but also as a part of everyday fashion and self-expression, while still preserving their cultural values. The growing interest of Generation Z in Indonesian traditional clothing is driven by several factors. Social media and the fashion industry have played a key role in this trend. The first factor is cultural pride. Traditional clothing reflects Indonesian identity. The second is social media. Instagram and TikTok make it trendy for Gen Z. Third is modern fashion. Local brands combine tradition with modern styles. And the last is cultural preservation. Tradition stays relevant through innovation.
Besides being part of Indonesian culture, traditional clothing also supports sustainable fashion. Sustainable fashion means choosing clothing that is environmentally friendly, durable, and ethically produced. Traditional fabrics such as batik, tenun, and songket are usually handmade by local artisans using traditional techniques. Because of their high quality, these fabrics last much longer than many fast fashion products. By choosing traditional clothing, we are not only preserving Indonesia's cultural heritage, but also supporting local communities and reducing our dependence on fast fashion. In this way, fashion becomes more meaningful because it combines style, culture, and sustainability.
Traditional clothing still faces challenges such as limited use. Traditional clothing is still mostly associated with formal or cultural events. Secondly, high cost. Traditional fabrics are often more expensive because they are handmade by skilled artisans. Third, limited cultural awareness. Many young people wear traditional clothing without understanding its cultural meaning. And the last is cultural appropriation. Modern youth should respect the origins and values of traditional clothing.
Now, let's talk about the future opportunities of Indonesian traditional clothing. Traditional clothing has a bright future because it continues to evolve through modern designs. Today, batik, kebaya, tenun, and songket are no longer limited to formal occasions. They have been redesigned to suit everyday fashion, making them more attractive to young people. In addition, Indonesian traditional clothing has strong potential to compete in the global fashion market. Its unique cultural value, handcrafted quality, and sustainable production make it stand out from mass production fashion. However, the future of traditional clothing also depends on the younger generation. By wearing it proudly and understanding its cultural meaning, Gen Z can help preserve Indonesia's cultural heritage while keeping it relevant and appreciated by future generations. To conclude, traditional clothing is no longer worn only for special occasions. Today, it has become part of Gen Z's fashion and lifestyle. This change has been influenced by social media, modern fashion designs, and a growing sense of cultural pride. Young people now combine traditional clothing with contemporary styles, making it more attractive and suitable for everyday wear. By choosing to wear traditional clothing, Gen Z is not only expressing their personal style but also helping preserve Indonesia's cultural heritage. This shows that tradition and modern fashion can work together to keep our culture relevant for future generations. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you found it informative. See you next time!